Hi guys and welcome to the Quinn podcast. Here we give you a look through the eyes of the most successful athletes, entertainers, entrepreneurs and influencers on this planet. Be sure to check out all of the content at quinnpodcast.com. Enjoy the episode. You graduated school in 2021? What's life been like?
2017 and 2021, I think.
What's life been like since then? 2021.
Crazy, bro. Crazy than I could have ever imagined in my wildest dreams.
Tell me about it. Take me through it.
Bro, where should I start? I mean, for me, ever since I was 15, 16 years old, when I was still in high school, I was reading a lot of books, watching a lot of videos, YouTube videos back then from Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Ty Lopez and everything. And I started building this vision in my mind of being an entrepreneur and everything. But then I didn't really know what to do, how to do it. 10 years ago, becoming an entrepreneur wasn't that big as it's now, right? Post-pandemic with bunch of coaches and everyone giving you the blueprints and showing you how it works. Back then, being an entrepreneur, I knew one entrepreneur in our whole city, right? And it was something of a mystic. So for me, becoming an entrepreneur and starting that journey in university, and then also after graduating, directly getting into entrepreneurship and having it as a full-time job, I didn't really know what to expect. And now the past couple of years have been a crazy ride, and I'm super, super glad and thankful that I had the motivation and the courage to get on that journey, because it was really rewarding.
Sure thing. How did you decide on your offer? What you guys do at the agency? Maybe take me through what you guys do, your specific offer, and then how you settled on it.
Sure. So we basically run an e-commerce agency which is specialized on conversion optimization, meaning we work with big e-commerce brands and we help them optimize the online store so they get more people to buy, right? When you're on the website, you may familiar with Amazon, for example. They run thousands of small, tiny changes. Every single thing you can see on the product pages of Amazon is thought through. Where to put the image, how to write the description, the call to action, the upsell, the card, the whole layout, everything is optimized so that you are buying and that you're spending a lot of money with them. And that's basically our job. And I got into it a bit on random, because a couple of years ago I was running my own business. So I sold products on Amazon and also at an online store. And then for that, through a mutual friend, I met Lars, who is now my co-founder of the agency, and he was a freelancer back then. He was building online stores, he was doing all of this stuff, and then I was like, hey, let's work together on my brand, right? And then we started working together in 2019, and then COVID and the pandemic hit in 2020, and then I transitioned from running my own e-commerce business to becoming a freelancer and working side by side with him basically. And then over the past couple of years, we just started building a team, building the agency, and that's what we do now.
Now, a lot of guys listening to this, me as well at times, it's like finding a good offer, right? Finding something to pursue. What was it about CRO, in your opinion, that you were this is the one thing that ticks all boxes?
For me personally, it was the perfect mixture of my passions basically, because me personally, I was always obsessed with psychology, right? So I would read, when I was 15, 16, the whole summer holidays, I would read one book a day on psychology, right? Every single day I would read a whole book about psychology around motivation, fear, anxiety, communication, the personal development, right? Every single topic that I could find around psychology and how my brain works, how other people work, how to influence my behavior, how to influence the behavior of other people, how to influence the relationships that I have with other people, and all of that stuff. So I was obsessed with that. You probably read the book How to Win Friends, Influence People, right?
Sure.
So with that, I read that book and then I started applying the principles out of the book, and then I got results, right? And I was like, yo, that's crazy. I can apply principles and strategies from this book, and it helps me get closer to my goals. It helps me have better relationships with people and influence behavior, right? So I was always obsessed with that and trying to understand my mind and also relationships and other people better and better and better. Mm-hmm. And then that's what I really like doing personally. And then on the business side, when I was 16, I started reselling. So I would buy limited sneakers, Supreme, Yeezys, Jordans, and I would sell them on eBay or any other platform afterwards to make some money when I was 16, 17. And then I got into e-commerce. I started selling products online. So this idea of selling stuff online from your bedroom, right? Like from living at my parents' house, I could make money like just with my iPhone, basically. Was crazy. So to answer the question, conversion optimization basically was a combination of this passion to do stuff online, sell products online, and then also psychology, because conversion optimization is basically its foundation is in consumer psychology, right? You have to understand how people think and act, how people buy stuff, and how you can influence that decision, right? So there's thousands of studies around consumer psychology, sales psychology, the copy you have to have on the website, the images, the flow, the page structure. Like there's thousands of studies around what makes people buy, right? And for me, that was crazy. It was like super interesting. I'm like, okay, so you want to tell me like I can change around a couple of stuff, and then from 100 people that visit the website, it's not 2 that buy, but 5, right? It's crazy for me to think. So it was just that got me really excited for conversion optimization and the service itself to like start running it and also start offering it to others.
Yeah, sure. You'd say e-commerce was the first like real business success yet?
I mean, define success, right? For me, I was successful when I was 16 and was making a couple $100 a month, right? That was success for me already. But I would say like the part that I could really live off of it and have like an income or like a job and pay myself a good amount of money was from started in 2020 when I would start the freelancing.
Yeah, no, I hear you for sure. Plenty of moments where you like doubted the offer, I'm sure. How'd you deal with that?
Every other day.
Sure. Take me through that. Like when that pops up in your head, how do you deal with that? Like back then and now that you're like have a team and everything.
In the beginning, and I was really fortunate because Lars had already sold it a couple of times and done it a couple of times, and I've already I was a client of his, right? So I got a good understanding of the offer and everything. So I wasn't really doubting it in the beginning. I was just like, okay, seems to work. You got a couple of clients. You got me as your client. We work together. I can see the results. Let's do it. But I would say over time, especially in the beginning, like everyone that has been a freelancer, maybe you've experienced it too, it's like getting clients is super tough, especially in the beginning. If you're nobody, you don't have a name, you don't have a reputation, you don't have like a offer, product market fit and everything. So in the beginning, yeah, I would probably have it every other week that I would think, is conversion optimization the right thing? Should we maybe change to Facebook advertising or consulting or something else, right? Nowadays, I mean, I have so much proof for myself that it works and that it makes money that I don't really doubt anything anymore, right? Like if you've sold something so many times and you have seen so much like hard proof that it works, then you just don't doubt it anymore.
I hear you for sure. You got some exciting clients, man, like AG1, Yule, those are big.
Yeah.
Take me through, how do you get in bed with those guys? Like how does that work?
So that ties back to the point of you have to build a reputation for yourself, right? And I'm a big believer in being like really tightly positioned and like really niche positioned, right? So we always only did conversion optimization. We never did anything else, right? Like for 5 years, I've just been talking about this one topic, and I've also building a name just for being like the person to go to for conversion rate optimization. And that's why over time, we then also got more and more, let's say like bigger cases. And then, for example, with AG1, there was I was referred to them through my network. And for Huel, for example, they saw a Facebook ad of me, which is crazy to think, right? But they saw a Facebook ad, and then they booked a call, and then we talked, and I walked them through everything, and then we started working together. And yeah, also like another billion-dollar supplement brand from Germany, they also saw my Facebook ads, and then we got on a call, we met in person, everything, and then we also signed them as a client. So nowadays, I would say if you have a solid track record and if you have a personal brand, then you can work with huge corporations, right? Like 8-figure brands, 9-figure brands, even billion-dollar companies in this digital age that we're in right now, right? Like I could, if you were to told me this 5 years ago, like, Carl, when you're 25, you're going to be working with these big brands, I would be like, yeah, whatever, right?
Right.
And now it's again proof that you can literally achieve anything on the internet, which is crazy to think. But if you just keep at it and you build a compound effect for your name and for your personal brand, then you can also get attract clients like that.
Cool. This is fascinating to me. Like, share as much as you obviously feel comfortable sharing, but a brand like AG1, like they come to you, and then what? Like, what's your onboarding process, and then what? How do you like actually help them?
So what I can share is that those big 9-figure brands or even billion-dollar companies, everything is highly individual. Like from the calls to the offer to like what we do for them is super, super individual. Like if a regular brand comes like that's doing 10, 20 million a year, they all get the exact same sales call, they get the exact same offer, they get the exact same service, right? But then if we have those outliers of like super huge brands, everything is individual. So typically the first call, I would always just get to know them and get an understanding of what they're looking for, right? And then based on that, I would make like a pretty specific offer. So for AG1, I cannot share yet what we are working on. For Huel, what we worked on was help them with the whole website relaunch so we onboarded them in May last year, and we relaunched the website in November, so around 2 months ago. Basically redesigning everything, giving it a UX UI upgrade, new colors, new fonts, new branding, new customer journey. So it's super excited. That was a huge project, and we are also really, really proud of that, obviously. So that's what we did for them. But yeah, it's really, really unique and really different from like brand to brand at that stage.
So for like you or like any brand, whatever, how do you decide like this is going to optimize their conversion? Like what is it?
I mean, that's always the same process. It's always looking at data, right? Like data is everything nowadays. So whenever we onboard a brand, the first thing that we do is set up all of those data tracking tools. So for those listening, what's super interesting, also again, coming back to Amazon. Amazon has a database of every single movement and every single click you ever did on their website. So they have a profile with every product you ever looked at, any search that you typed into it, anywhere you moved your mouse, anywhere you clicked. Think of it as like a screen share, right? Like they have video recordings of you being on their website. And that's basically what we then look at and analyze. So these brands provide us these video recordings. They provide us the data of like how people interact with the page, where they click, how they scroll, what they do. It's basically like viewing somebody in a supermarket, how they shop. And then based on that, we see certain potentials, right? We see, okay, interesting. So they don't really interact with this section. Maybe we have to change it. Or we see, hey, all of this is working smoothly, but then at this stage in the customer journey, there seems to be a problem, right? And then we, for example, we talk to customers, we get on the phone with customers, we do surveys, we send them emails, we look at customer support interviews, and then we analyze like what is important for them. Why do they buy the product? What pain points do they have? What are they looking forward to get? And then based on like all of these data points, we then come up with what we have to do on the page, right? So let's say we talk to 1,000 customers and 950 of them have the same problem that they want a solution for. Then we will just use exactly that problem on the product page and say, this product solves this pain point for you, right? And then we would push it live and see how it performs.
I like it. For you personally, like from your perspective, what's it like playing at this level? Getting to, like you say, from your parents' bedroom to working with these clients?
Again, it's at times really difficult to realize. I've just accustomed myself to like this life that I'm living right now, but every other day when I pull myself out of it and look at everything in like bird's eye view, I'm like, this is crazy. I don't have really another word for it, but this is crazy. But it also comes back to planning and also having a vision for yourself. Do you know the Alchemy of Self from Sam Ovens?
I think, yeah, I did once.
Yeah? Okay, nice one.
Way back.
So in the beginning of my journey, and I remember it vividly, around New Year's 2020 to 2021, I sat down for like 6 hours and I would build the whole Alchemy of Self, meaning I would build a vision board, I would put out pictures that I want to be like, I would wrote a manifesto, I wrote affirmations, goals and everything. And now only like 4 years later, I look at it and I achieved everything and achieved way more. And back then it was like, I want to be on stage one day in front of hundreds of people. I want to have a huge office. I want to have a nice car. I want to have a nice flat. I want to travel around the world. And now I look at my lifestyle and it's like GTA, bro. It's like GTA. Like you can just design everything the way you want it to. Like this is the car I want to drive. This is the house I want to live in. This is the lifestyle. This is the friend circle I want to be in. This is what I want to experience. And then if you work hard for like a long enough period of time, then you can achieve all of that. And that's I would say like a pretty nice lesson, pretty nice realization. And now it's yeah, that's my life. That's how I view it. And then I always ask myself, okay, what's next? Like, how do I want to design it now? Like, where should I put the character next? Let's maybe choose a different car, different flat, different location, right?
That's dope. Sam Ovens is like the OG in this, right? Like, you know, like a real player if they know Sam Ovens. Yeah. He's like completely out of it now, but it's fun. Yeah, no, for sure. How do you plan? Like 1 year plan, 3 year plan? How far do you look ahead?
For me personally, 1 to 3 years. For the business, like 3 to 6 months, because the business landscape is changing so rapidly. I just do like 3 to 6 month planning. But for me personally, I look probably like most often around 1 year, I would say, timescale.
Yeah, fine. Cool. What differentiates the agency from other agencies doing the same thing?
Interesting question. I mean, in the CRO space, there's not many agencies at our size. So I would say, and that's the interesting thing, because it's a blue ocean. If you look at Facebook agencies, TikTok agencies, email marketing agencies, there's like thousands of them. But like CRO worldwide, there's maybe like 20, 25 in our size, which is pretty interesting. So it's like an open board, and you don't really know like how far you can push it and like how big you can make it. But also, therefore, what differentiates us mostly, I would say, our age is definitely a big one, because there's not a single agency where like the founders are like in their mid to late 20s, right? Like I'm 26, my co-founder is like 28, 29. And all the other ones, it's like their second, third, or fourth business. For us, it's like the first business that we scale to this size. Right. So I would say that's like the biggest thing. And therefore, I would also say we are probably the hungriest, if that makes sense. Like we wanted the most. Like we also needed to work the most, and we are the hungriest to like really push the throttle and be crazy and say, let's make this big, or let's work with these people, or let's build a software or something else. And if I look at the other agencies, they're mostly like older, they're a bit calmer. They are not, I would say, also for our branding, I would say we've positioned ourselves as like the cool guys, like chill, like you want to hang out with us, and not those like, I would say like nerds. Right. That's probably the biggest differentiation also in the outer perception of the agency.
Fine. From the clients you've worked with, like, what's like a common misconception they have about their customers? Like what's a thing they keep doing wrong that you're helping them with?
I would say the biggest misconception is that brand owners, right? If they own a brand, they know everything. Let's say you have a supplement brand, then you know every single detail about the supplement, and then they do the marketing and they build the website for themselves out of their point of view and not for the customer's point of view, right? So they have all of the details, all of the information, but then they do marketing with like what interests them and not the customer. And that's what I would say is the biggest issue, that you really have to do customer research, talk to customers and understand like why they want the product. And then based on that, come up with a good marketing strategy and a good website with like good reasons to buy the product instead of doing it for yourself, basically.
You're like completely self-taught. Like how did you go about like learning all of this?
I mean, Lars taught me a lot, obviously, but then I could work a lot with my experience that I had from all of the psychology books. That was like super applicable. And then also like my marketing and e-commerce knowledge, because I ran the brand and I did reselling. But then I just went through a bunch of courses. So over 2020, I've watched probably 200-300 hours worth of courses around CRO, psychology, copywriting and everything. And then I would also say a big part is obviously learning by doing. So until even today, I still build landing pages. I work with every single client. I'm like really in the nitty gritty stuff, coming up with new ideas and everything. Yeah. So a lot of stuff is also like testing, trying out new things.
Cool. We're rapid firing through the questions. I like it.
Yeah.
Get a good pace going. Your view on productivity then, because like it's fun, bro. Like you got like a typical like Sam Ovens business. Now that you mentioned it, like I'm thinking back to the consulting accelerator. It's like a typical like agency. Productivity, like what gets on the calendar.
So the way that I think about productivity is really, it's about planning on the one hand side, right? Like analyzing and planning. And then on the other hand side, it's energy and focus management. So the way that I approach productivity is that I have like a really good understanding of my highest ROI activities, right? So for example, generate leads and generate sales. That's what I have to focus on to drive revenue for my business. So like every action I take, like creating content, creating ads, doing sales calls, doing follow-ups, like I can basically tie those back to one of those two goals, right? Like consulting accelerator, there's not only so many things, like generate the sales calls and do the sales.
Yeah.
And then obviously fulfillment, but like every action I have to point to those two. And if it's something else, like, I don't know don't have like a good example right now. Creating a new email flow or building like updating my website design or whatever, like anything that's like nice to have or a shiny object, I would just cut, right? So that's the first thing, like analyzing and being really aware of what are the high ROI tasks. And then based on that, I would build my calendar. And this is a concept from Alex Becker too. Like there's 2 to 4 hours in every single day that you can work hyper productive. And those are typically in the beginning of the day. So the way that I structure it is I get up 7 a.m. I'm in the gym by 7:30. I'm home by 8:30. Then I have like a high protein breakfast, high fat, high protein. And then I'm in the office by like 9:30. And then I have like my deep dive work, which is holy for me. So around 2.5 to 3 hours of like hyper focused work, where, for example, I will record a new content piece. I will create a new content piece. I will create new ads. Or something like that, right? Where I can sit down for like 2 to 3 hours. Then I will have lunch, and then afterwards I will either do a second deep dive block if possible. Otherwise, I will start doing calls, like sales calls, follow-up calls, or calls with the team. And that's pretty much my whole week. And then in like every single morning, I'll have my deep dive. And then in the afternoon or evening, I then have like my calls and meetings. And that's basically how I structure it. And then I review it like every Sunday for the week and every couple of months on like a bigger picture.
That's like 10-hour days, 12-hour days?
Depends on the day, yeah, but I would say around that. So on Fridays, home a bit earlier at like 7 p.m. probably, but all the other days I start at 9:30 and I'm home between like 8 to 9, I would say.
Cool. You mentioned content creation. The personal brand's like the main driver of leads right now for you?
Yeah, it's like half of our new business.
And the rest is cold?
Yeah, the rest is like ads and stuff.
Cool. Interesting. At what point did you decide to launch ads? I spoke to Iman Gedji. He's like, don't do ads before you're at like 20K a month.
We started doing ads at around 150-ish a month. So we went the hard way of like getting clients and everything through organic content. And then at like 150K-ish, we started doing ads. This was mostly for me to kind of support the personal brand, because like with ads, you get impressions every single day and your face is everywhere. And then also you get the leads and the sales calls. So, yeah.
What's been the approach to the personal brand? What's the content strategy?
Pretty straightforward, bro. It's the Alex Hormozy content strategy of just provide them as much value as you can, make it super actionable and applicable, and then give away all of the information, say the implementation. And that's basically what we do. So if you check out my YouTube, it's like I'm giving away so many SOPs, so much stuff on there, and then people watch it. A lot of people do it themselves, or they just start doing it themselves. And then like my ideal customer, they will watch it and then they will be like, okay, yes, I could do this myself with this information, but it's way quicker, way faster and way safer and has a higher ROI if I just hire them to do it for me.
Sure.
So that's basically the approach and the strategy. And then with the content pieces themselves, I just think about what would be helpful for my customer, or what's interesting for them and what solves like a big pain point, right? So, and then I basically do like a brainstorming and a mind map, and then I have like my different topics, whether that's how to build a funnel, how to build an offer, how to do copywriting, how to improve your conversion rate with split testing, and all of that stuff. And then based on all of these different topics, I would then think about content pieces, right? Like a long form Google document video, presentation, freestyle, I don't know, right? And then I would translate it into content pieces. And that's basically what I do. And for me, the main thing is YouTube. I believe in YouTube the most just because people sit down and they spend time with you and they build a relationship with you, right? If I look at my YouTube channel, I think it's like 1,500 hours of watch time every single month. And when I think about that, like my target audience spends over 1,000 hours with me every single month, builds trust, builds a relation, and crazy. Like obviously Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter is cool. They have touch points with you, and also Instagram, they build a personal connection with you more. But YouTube is by far the craziest. Like the amount of time they spend with you is baffling.
Yeah, no, that's cool. How do you look at the e-commerce like market right now? Like the whole area where it's going? What excites you about it?
What excites me about it is that I think I've seen it become more and more difficult over the years, and that excites me about it because it's basically weeping out all of the people that are lazy and all of the people that are not willing to hustle, and that excites me because I know that if you're willing to hustle, you get out of this situation as a winner, and if you're not, you're being killed by the market, right? So that's just what I like, also because I'm really competitive.
Sure.
That what gets me going, basically.
I like that. Trends you like see besides that one? Like practical, like, I don't know, split tests you found recently, which are fun?
One key trend, and I also made a YouTube video about this, is that the offer itself is becoming like the most important thing of the whole funnel. And the offer structure that we have seen work the best is like some form of bundle offer where they get multiple products, and then you have like a huge discount from the perceived value, right? Like CAG1, for example. You don't only get one supplement, you get a supplement, you get a pouch, you get a shaker, you get a drinking bottle and everything. Sure. So you get so many products as like a bundle. And then they position it as like the all-in-one solution for a big problem you have. And then they have a huge reduction from the perceived value to the actual price. And that's basically the offer structure that we implement for a lot of brands, and that's crushing it. And that's like the biggest thing I see right now.
Cool. You mentioned Zero being a blue ocean. Other blue oceans you found for the people listening?
Good one. I'm a believer in you can create a blue ocean yourself too. So even in a niche like Facebook ads agency or email marketing agency or something, like you can always niche down more or have like a crazy USP or mode where you're not comparable to anybody else anymore. So one example for this, I don't know if you know Zarek. He's running like a email marketing agency. Right, so he could be perceived as one of thousands, but the way that he basically built his like own moat around his business is that they hyper focus on direct response copywriting, and then the email is just like one of the vehicles that they delivered in. So they're rather perceived as like a direct response copywriting agency, and that sets them apart from everyone else, right? Because others are just like building email flows, and then they're like, hey, we built you direct response marketing campaigns. So the point is, I think in service or as like an eco brand or stuff, like you can always build a unique perception and like a unique blue ocean for yourself.
I hear you. Cool. That's cool. I like your perspective on that. Ultimate goal for the agency. Where do you see it going next 5-10 years?
Sell it one day. That will be the ultimate goal, to like get it to solid revenue, like 8 figures, and then sell it for like a big price. That would be the ultimate goal. And
for yourself, what's the big vision?
Bro, for myself, the long-term big vision, like 10-20 years, I don't want to become like a coach or guru or something, but I want to have some form of impact on the educational system. Whereas when I was 15, 16 years old, I was fortunate to then meet a couple of mentors around that age, and but when I look back at like my life trajectory, I feel super fortunate that it turned out the way that it turned out now.
Yeah.
And obviously I worked super hard for it, but there's some form of luck to it, some form of faith to it, right? Because I saw so many people from my environment like didn't make it. And then I was like, if they've had the right tools or like the right mentors or the right motivation, they would probably be off way better. And when you're 15, 16, I don't know if it's the same in the Netherlands, but in Germany, you can either go to like a higher school and then university, or you can start working. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them, they just start working with 15, 16. And if you do that way, basically, then you just not destroy your future, but you build, like you kill all of the other ways. Mm-hmm. I would have nearly done that because I was super bad in school. But then luckily also with my parents, like they kicked me in the ass to like stay in school, become good, go to university and everything. So I made it, but then I think like, hey, it would have been way easier for me too. And probably a lot of like my environment back then and a lot of people I know would have been off way better if they would have some form of mentor, show them how to live life or like how to set goals or how to improve themselves or like how to get what they want, right? So that's just what I think, because I've been so fortunate that one day over like a super long time horizon, like 10, 20 years, I want to be able to give that back to the youth. And I also feel that that's where you have the biggest leverage on society, right? Like the youth, if you treat them right, if they develop right, and especially at those like 15, 16 years of age, and then they just become good people, then that's going to have a big impact on society.
Thanks for listening to the Quinn podcast. If you enjoyed it, you can go to quinnpodcast.com to check out all of the previous episodes. quinnpodcast.com.